All right, it's 9 p.m. and welcome to this webinar. My name is Sanjay Shinoy and we will be learning about Rank Math. Just type in RM in the chat box if you guys are excited to learn everything that has to do with Rank Math. Hi, good evening, Mithi. Hi, Surabhi. Hi, Yashpal. Hi, Monica. Glad you made it here. Hi, Vinayak. Hi, Satyendra. Hi, Sharath. Hi, Ashish. Nagraj, while you're at it, how about you tell me where you're from and why are you so interested in learning about rank math? So how about that? So just give me a quick introduction about yourself, which city you're from, and what makes you so interested in rank math. Smita from Mumbai, Surabhi from Bangalore, Miti, Hyderabad, of course. How are you doing, Miti? Vinayak from Pune. Hi, Chetan. Hi, Bhavik. Good to see you here. Ahmad, good to see you here. Guwahati. Arindam from Bangalore. Excellent tool. Have used it. You can say that again. Absolutely great tool. Ranjini from Trivandrum. My Yatra from Gujarat. Sandesh from Ahmedabad. Krishna from Anantapur. Milind from Mumbai. Girish from Delhi. Chetan from Bangalore. Just waiting for a couple of minutes for everyone to join in, and then we'll get started with the session. And I'll basically be talking in detail about what Rank Math is and how you can install it on your blog and like optimize both on an entire website level and as well as on a post level. Uttam from Chhattisgarh. Arindam says Yoast SEO, fantastic. So good to see that you have used it before. And I will also be telling why, Rank Math is probably way better than Yoast SEO. Yashpal says that he's already using Rank Math in HIIT Batch 4. Looking forward to learn more about it. Fantastic. How many people are from HIIT SEO here? Just give me a shout out real quick. Just type in me in the chat box. Oh, wow, quite a lot of people. Fantastic. Oh, Nagaraj says he's using SEO all-in-one. Good. Amit has enrolled for the next week's blogging session as well. Fantastic. Thanks, Amit. I'm sure we'll have a great time. Great. Fantastic. Neha, I've already told you the next batch will be starting in July. So I'll tell you, give you an email. You're on the list. Don't worry about it at all. Great. Fantastic. Okay. I think we should just get started. What do you guys think? Just type in start in the chat box if you guys are excited to get started with this free session on Rank Math. Great, fantastic. Lovely to have all of you here, and thanks so much for tuning in this session. In this session, I'll be walking you through what Rank Math is and why Rank Math is probably better than Yoast SEO and all the other SEO plugins out there in the market, and how to install Rank Math and use it to optimize both your website as well as your blog post. That's exactly what we'll be learning. So let's get started with understanding what Rank Math is in the first place. So Rank Math is a WordPress SEO plugin. Now, definitely not the first SEO plugin to be on the market. There have been plenty of other SEO plugins out there. But Rank Math is very different in a lot of ways. I think one of the major differences that Rank Math is that it replaces a lot of other plugins that you might need on your WordPress blogs, thanks to its loaded features. It's absolutely power-packed with features. You can do a ton of things with them. And unlike, say, Yoast SEO, how many people have used Yoast SEO? Just give me a quick me in the chat box if you have already used Yoast SEO. So you know for a fact that on Yoast SEO, you can only have one, what is called as a focus keyword. You can only have one focus keyword. Compare it to Rank Math, you can have 5 different focus keywords. Of course, considering how SEO has evolved over the years, having multiple focus keywords definitely will help you in having a more thematic approach to content rather than optimizing that piece of content for just one single keyword or key phrase, right? So having multiple keywords is definitely beneficial, and Rank Math allows you to do that. Whereas Yoast, you need to go premium for you to be able to do something like that. Most importantly, RankMath is also a very light plugin, and both in terms of size and in terms of the number of lines of code that has been written, at least according to RankMath, is one of the lightest plugins out there in the market. And it definitely is, because it definitely helps you not bloat your WordPress, unlike say Yoast or All-in-One SEO. I'm not at all dissing Yoast for that matter. Actually, Yoast is also a great SEO plugin, but it's just that I feel that Yoast was kind of dominating or monopolizing that entire market for a very, very long time, and they were caught napping, considering the fact that what RankMath basically did was they said that, hey, you know what? Whatever Yoast is providing in the premium versions, I'm going to give it to you for free. And that's basically how most of these plugins or SaaS companies work anyway. They're just undercutting on the price and saying that I can do a better job at a cheaper price. That's exactly what they did. And they kind of ate into Yoast market share that they had already built up for a very, very long time. And the best part is, even if you decide to go pro, which is close to $60 per year, it absolutely is totally worth it, because you can have your Rank Math Pro on multiple websites, not just one website. Compare it with Yoast, you have to pay for every other license that you want. Also, personally speaking, I really like the UI of RankMath compared with Yoast, right? So definitely amazing UI, very clean UI, and they have excellent support, right? So the moment they have a community where you can go in and like ask whatever questions that you have, or you can send in a support ticket, and they're very, very quick in answering all of the questions. If you face any challenges, they're absolutely great. And to add it to all of these things, RankMath is made here in India. So which is why I feel that I have a slight bias towards them, considering that I'm also from here, Bangalore, India. And the fact that they've done such a fantastic job with their plugin, on a global level, it has been appreciated, and more than 1 million active installations with an average rating of like 4.8, I suppose. So which is absolutely great. So they've done a fantastic job with it. And which is why I strongly recommend that, hey, you need to go with RankMath compared to Yoast. I really hope Yoast and all the other plugins like All-in-One SEO and all of those things, they really up their game and they kind of like give a tough competition to RankMath. I'm again not at all saying that Yoast is a bad plugin. I personally have used Yoast for a very, very long time, but I feel that they kind of like became a little complacent with whatever they were doing, and which is why RankMath kind of like came into the whole scene and they've captured the entire market. So here is what I want to tell you guys. If you want to win RankMath Pro annual license, just type in me in the chat box and I'll tell you exactly how you will be able to do that. Very simple. All I want you to do is go out there, either tweet or share on Instagram. You first need to follow me. I'll be putting in the links in the chat box. Just go out there, follow me on both Twitter or on Instagram, and just like either you tweet it out or take a picture of this session, tag me, and just share it on your stories. And as long as you're doing one lucky winner, will be able to get an annual pro license of Rank Math worth 4,200 rupees, absolutely free. So if you are interested, I'm going to just put in the links. That's my Instagram. Let me just pull in my Twitter. And there you go. Just give me a quick follow first. And once you've followed me, make sure you are tweeting about this session. You can, if you want to tweet about this session, just go ahead and tweet one key takeaway from this session that you had in terms of rank math or in terms of SEO and all of those things. If you're on Instagram, just take a selfie or take a picture of this entire session that is happening. Of course, tag me and tell people what your key takeaway was. So at the end of the session, I will reveal who the winner of the Rank Math Pro annual license is going to be. So hold on till the end. And we'll also be opening up the session for Q&A. I'll do a quick Q&A. So if you have any questions, please don't put it in the comments, because it's just going to get lost, because I'll be continuously asking people to interact with me, engage with me. So please don't put it in the comments, put it in the Q&A section. You will be seeing the Q&A section and you should be able to put it in there. And that is how we will be answering your questions in the end. So having said that, I would still recommend that they just pay attention for the next 1 hour, and then we'll open up the whatever questions you might have. I might already answer it through this session. So just hold on to those questions. If you still have more questions at the end of the session, I'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. So great. So considering now that we know why RankMath is so much better than all the other plugins out there, so let's just jump right into the WordPress dashboard. So I'll be using a dummy website that I have set up just for this, and I'll be showing you how to do the entire step-by-step process of installing RankMath and setting it up using the setup wizard and actually optimizing a blog post with RankMath. So that is probably one of the most important aspects of RankMath, because I see a lot of people making a lot of mistakes while optimizing their posts using Rank Math, which is probably why I'm making this session in the first place. So along the way, you'll also learn what are the different options you have that you can change within Rank Math, and what do they mean, and what are the different settings that Rank Math allows you to change, so that you can go back home after the session and play around with it, tweak around with it, and optimize your entire site, and also learn how to optimize your singular blog posts so that you can get better rankings. Just type in BR for better rankings in the chat box if you are looking for better rankings using Rank Math. Fantastic. Great. So I'm going to quickly jump into my WordPress dashboard, which you're seeing here. Great. Everybody able to see my screen? Just give me a quick yes in the chat box. I'm sure that most of you here who are present in this session know how to install a WordPress SEO plugin, or any plugin for that matter. But still, I just want to walk you guys through, for people who might not know how to install a SEO plugin. I still would want to walk you guys through how to do the whole thing. So we'll be setting the whole thing right from the start. And as you can see, what you need to be doing is go to plugins. So I'm just using a dummy website here. There's nothing on this website, but regardless, it doesn't matter. All these settings I'll be explaining, and how you can tweak a few of those things, and why you need to tweak it, enable it, disable it, all of those things along the way. So once you click on plugins, you need to click on add new and just look for Rank Math here, and it will show up. So as you can see, 800 plus active installations. I'm guessing it's a lot more than this, because a lot of people would actually download the plugin file, the .zip file, and then probably upload it directly from here. So not necessarily all of them are actually installing it from the WordPress repository. But regardless, 800,000 plus, 1 million plus, doesn't matter, as long as the plugin does its job, and it does a fantastic job at it, which is probably why in just a few years, I think Rank Math came into the picture about 3, 4, 5 years ago. In such a short period of time, they have managed to take the entire SEO industry by storm. So this is probably a greatest testimony for that fact that they still have so many active installations happening, right? So all you need to do is click on install now. And once you install, click on install now, you can click on activate. You need to click on activate rather for you to activate the plugin. And there you go, boom. So Rank Math has been installed, and it will show up in this navigation bar or in the dashboard of WordPress admin area. So here you'll be able to see all the different settings that you can do. So I'm going to click on dashboard, and you will be able to see a bunch of different modules that are within Rank Math itself. So this is what I was talking about, Rank Math's amazing features and power pack features, right? So if you had to say about before Rank Math came into the picture, if you had to enable all of these things, say for example, your local SEO stuff, right? So if you had to enable any of those things, then you might have to go to. So sorry, I'll probably walk you guys through the setup wizard first, and then we'll get into this. So this is what the setup wizard is. This is where you'll be actually setting your Rank Math plugin up on WordPress, and that is how you will be actually installing and activating Rank Math on your website. So you'll have 3 options. One is easy, advanced, and custom mode. I would recommend that you go with advanced mode. At least I will go with advanced mode for this session, because there are a few extra changes that you can do on advanced mode, which easy mode will not be. It won't be possible on easy mode. You can always toggle between advanced mode and easy mode on your dashboard. I'll show you how to do that. Anyway, so it'll ask you whether you want to go easy mode or advanced mode. And it will tell you if your website is compatible to run Rank Math SEO. You can just click on this to see what are the different things. For most cases, for most hosting, this will be absolutely fine. There's nothing to worry about here. So click on Start Wizard. There you go. So what you need to do here is you need to give details about your website itself. So what kind of a website is this? SaaS product review is a blah, blah, blah website. personal blog, community blog, personal portfolio, small business site, web shop, other personal website, other business website. You can give any of these things. For this, I'll just go with other personal website. Here, you can also give a logo that might appear on the knowledge graph of Google or even in the search snippets also. So I'm not going to actually upload a logo here because it doesn't make sense. So, but you definitely should be uploading your logo here. So, but the minimum size is 160 into 90 and the max size is 1920 into 1080. Right, so this is the maximum size. So go ahead, upload your logo. And what is your default share image? Default share image is social share image, is basically the image that is going to appear whenever somebody shares any of your posts on social media. Now you can actually tell RankMath what kind of image needs to be shown on social media for every particular post. But if you want to have like a default image, then you can probably add a default social share image here. Or if not, you can also leave it as it is. So click on save and continue. So here it'll ask you to connect Google services like your Search Console and Analytics. I strongly recommend you do that, primarily because RankMath also fetches a lot of data and populates it in a very nice dashboard within the RankMath plugin itself. I strongly recommend you do it. So click on connect your RankMath account, and it'll ask you to log in here. If you don't have an account, you just need to set up your account. So looks like I've already logged in using my email. So you can just like click on OK, activate now. So this process is pretty simple. In fact, I'll just like walk through the entire process. So this is the process you get. So you'll ask you to log in using Facebook, Google, or WordPress, or using email and password. I'm just going to go with Google and choose one of your Google accounts. As long as you have a Google account, it's fine. So then it'll ask you it'll prompt you for a confirmation. Just click on OK, activate now. And again, this is for your RankMath account plus your Google account. So it'll ask you whether RankMath can be granted permission to see and download your analytics data and all of those things. Just click on allow for everything. Allow. So we will view and manage Search Console data for your verified sites. Allow. Manage the list of sites and domains you control. Click on allow. And all of these things is also allowed, right? So as you can see here, you will see a bunch of different things here. So, so you can select your different domains that you have as part of Search Console and as part of Analytics also. So there are a bunch of different things here. So click on Install Analytics Code, and if you do that, it'll actually create an account on Analytics. You can choose which property you want, choose which account you want also. Just go with the flow here, just select the account, select the property that you want, and it'll actually go ahead and install Analytics Code on you. So in my case, I'm not actually going to install Analytics Code because I've already used SiteKit, which is the official plugin from Google to actually install Search Console as well as Analytics on this website. So I don't necessarily have to do this. If you have AdSense or if you want to apply to AdSense, you can also set it up here. So click on Save and Continue. And then you'll have Sitemap Settings. So what are sitemaps? Sitemaps are nothing but the table of contents for your website, right? So search engines have these things called as crawlers or spiders, which basically crawl the entire internet looking for new and updated content. So whenever they hit a website, so they will actually go check out the sitemap to understand what are the different pages on that particular website. How you find table of contents useful to actually find a particular piece of information in a book. Exactly like that, your crawlers are also going to find your sitemap useful because that will give this the crawlers a very easy way to navigate through your entire website. This is especially useful when you have a very large site with a lot of different pages. But even otherwise, it's a good routine to have. It's absolutely mandatory, almost mandatory that you have a sitemap. So go click on sitemaps, leave it as it is. Include images, of course, include images. So public post types, which one do you want to include in the sitemap? Posts and pages. I don't usually recommend including categories in your sitemaps. It just like takes up too much resources from Google itself, so from the Google crawlers. So I would not recommend selecting this unless you have category pages which are like very important for you. But in most cases, this might not be important. So I don't recommend putting it on the sitemap. So click on Save and Continue. So now you have a bunch of SEO tweaks here. Now, what it says here, the first one is no index, empty category, and tag archives. I recommend leaving it on because what happens is sometimes WordPress creates tag archives and like category pages and all of those things. And sometimes it might turn out to be empty. There might not be nothing on that page at all. And it might get indexed on Google. And you might have a page which is absolutely useless for your users. And it might take up unnecessary crawl budget or crawl resources of the crawlers out there. So I would recommend that you keep it on. You basically are telling Rank Math to tell Google that, hey, you know what, these pages are not important for me. So please don't go ahead and index them, because even if you index them, none of your users and my users are going to find it useful. So might as well not go ahead and index it at all. So that's exactly what you'll be doing. So click on no index here. So next we have no follow external links. So what it does is, by default, when you put a contextual link within WordPress, it's do follow. Basically, the difference between do follow and no follow, quick lesson, just type in BF in the chat box if you are interested in learning about do follow and no follow real quick, right? So a do follow link is a link that allows linked juice or the authority of a website to pass on to another website. A no follow link is a link that does not allow a link authority or the link juice to flow from one website to another website. Think about link juice as these tags or the authorities of a website represented with tags. And if website A is connecting to website B, just imagine that there's a pipe connecting these two tags. And when you put a no follow link, what you're doing is you're basically putting a tab to this pipe and saying that, hey, I'm going to control whether or not I want to pass on this link juice to or the authority of my website, whether I want to give this authority to another website or not. So you can do it using this. I don't recommend doing it right now. If you want to, you can do it on a post level. So this what this does is that it gives the setting for the entire website. So global settings, it's called global settings. So I would not recommend doing it on a global level. If you want to do it on a post level, you can still go ahead and do it. I'll show you how you can do it. So I would not recommend doing it on a global level, unless of course you really want to protect it for whatever reason. You might be more prone to spamming. So if that's the case, then you can go ahead and do it. Or you might create a website where external authors can come and post in their posts and all of those things. So you wouldn't want people to use your website as a way to gain backlinks, which are do follow. If that's the case, you can control it using all of these things. So open external links in new link, new tab, new window, pretty much self-explanatory. Just leave it on and click on save and continue. And there you go. The site is ready, right? You can enable auto update of the plugin if you want to. And now we'll move on to the advanced options a little bit. So let's try to understand what are the advanced options. So here you can do the capabilities for each different kind of member on your website. So most of you here might be controlling or handling your website by yourself. You might not have other people who might be actually working on a website. But if you do have other people working on a website, say, for example, you might have outsourced your content writing to a content writer, and that you have created an account for that content writer so that the content writer can himself or herself come onto your WordPress blog, post all of your content, optimize it, and put it out there. So what kind of controls would you want to give that person is what you can control here. So obviously the administrator will have all the settings here. So then you can set it up for different kind of users or user accounts, editor, author, contributor, subscriber, and all of those things. Right, so you can toggle between different options here, but for most of you, this won't even make sense. So just leave it as it is. So click on save and continue. Right, so then we have the 404 monitor. So a 404 is a status code for a website when a web page or a website itself is not available, right? So sometimes what happens that, you might have posted a WordPress blog on a blog post on your WordPress blog, and then you might have decided that, hey, you know what, I don't like this particular blog post. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it, right? So what happens to the page then? There is nothing on that page. That URL has already been crawled and indexed. At least let's assume that that URL has been crawled and indexed and is already available on Google. But now when people actually click on it, they find absolutely nothing on that page, right? So now that page might be like, again, not useful at all. So there might be a lot of pages like this which give you a 404 error. Basically, there is no page at all. So which is what a 404 error is. So if you want to monitor it, then you can toggle this and say that, hey, I would like to monitor it, and click on redirections also. So a redirection is basically what, when you have a certain URL, if somebody clicks on a certain URL, if you want them to go to another URL automatically, that is what a redirection is. Pretty much self-explanatory, right? So that's what a redirection would do. You can also do like different settings from within the RankMath dashboard itself, but just toggle it on here, click on save and continue. Now you have something called a schema markup. Now schema markup is nothing but structured data. Like I told you, there are a lot of things called, not a lot of things, but there are these programs called as crawlers that the search engines use that go out there in the internet to crawl and index all the data that is available on the World Wide Web, right? So while they're crawling, what they do while they're indexing all of your content, they're trying to understand what your content is about, so that whenever somebody looks for something related to your content, they can actually show your content to the users. Now, structured data or schema markup, in other words, is a language that search engines understand better than your regular English or whatever language that you're writing in, right? So that is what schema markup is. That is what structured data is all about. So we are structuring your content in a way that allows Google to actually understand what your content is, and more importantly, what are the different components of your content, so that it will be able to deliver what is called as rich results, right? So you guys might have seen this for recipe blogs and all that. Somebody give me a quick recipe keyword. I'll just quickly type it in Google and show you guys what a rich result would look like on the search engine. And then you'll probably understand. Okay, let's just go with biryani. How does that? Okay, biryani recipe, right? So as you can see, these are all rich results. You guys see it, right? This is also a rich result. This is also a rich result. So as you can see not just the data for like your regular result. You'll see your title, you'll see your description, and you'll also see other data which has been actually captured from the page and shown to the user here, like your ratings, the amount of time it takes, what are the different ingredients that goes into the whole thing. So basically the idea was Google wanted to give richer results apart from your regular results in the search engines, which is why they introduced schema markup, and that is exactly what we'll be doing here, right? Depending on the kind of website you have, you can choose different kinds of schemas. There are different kinds of schema markup, exactly like in a language there are different kinds of like grammar, words, and all of those kind of things. So that's exactly what you're doing here. And you have article, you have book, you have course, events, job posting, product, like I told you, recipe. If you have a restaurant, video, person, service, software application, and all of these things. In most cases for you guys, article might be more than enough, but if you have a specific kind of a blog post here, then you can just like, if you have a very generic blog that basically talks mostly about content, you can still go ahead with article and blog post, and just click on that. You can keep the same schema type for your pages also, and click on save and continue. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you set up your rank math using the setup wizard. How many people are learning something new here? Just type in new in the chat box if you learned something new, or if you understood something new using rank math, right? Okay, fantastic. Going great. So now, as you can see, there are a bunch of modules here which will actually allow you to do a bunch of different things using Rank Math for your WordPress blog. And this is probably why I love Rank Math so much. Like I mentioned before, right? So Rank Math actually replaces a lot of other plugins out there in the market. So usually before, what used to happen was that we had to install a lot of other kinds of plugins to make things happen on our WordPress blogs. We used to have like 20, 30 plugins going on. Now you don't need to do that. Rank Math replaces like a good bunch of these plugins. So you just need to install Rank Math, and most of these features kind of get, you're upgrading your WordPress website for free. How amazing is that? Just type in amazing in the chat box if you are impressed with what Rank Math can do with all the amazing features that it has to offer, right? So you obviously have the 404 monitor. I told you what it is. And then you have something called as ACF. So advanced custom fields. You can just like leave it, do not activate it, just like deactivate it. Then you have something called as accelerated mobile pages, right? So this is a project that was developed by Google to make mobile viewing really fast and really quick. As the name suggests, accelerated mobile pages. So what they did was that they said that, hey, you know what, since most people, like 50-60% of the people are accessing the internet and accessing your website also using mobile phones, maybe we can strip off a lot of unnecessary things from the WordPress website or any website for that matter, and just give the content part to the users, making it really fast to load web pages, right? But there is a compromise that you have to make. Since you're stripping off the web page of a lot of things, the functionalities of that page will drastically reduce. So I don't recommend using accelerated mobile pages, especially if you are like, say using like a pop-up, right? So these pop-ups and everything will be disabled, but you can see it's like lightning fast because there's absolutely nothing happening in the background, just like text and images being shown to the users, right? So that's what AMP would do. So I would not recommend switching this on unless you say that, hey, you know what, all I'm doing is just like giving content out to people. I'm just building my audience at this point of time, and I want to give the best possible experience for people to who are consuming my content. You can like actually experiment with AMP if you want to, but the kind of compromise that you have to, the trade-off that you have to do is that a lot of your website's functionality will be stripped away from your post and page. So which is why I don't recommend that you do it. So analytics, we already installed and connected analytics with it. So BBPress is a forum plugin. So if you are using the BBPress or BuddyPress for that matter, you can enable this, but most of us will not be using forum settings. You can also do image SEO, advanced image SEO. So bunch of different couple of features here as part of Rank Math, which can save you a ton of time, especially if you're uploading a bunch of different images on your blog posts, right? So instant indexing is mostly for Bing. Who uses Bing? So it doesn't even matter if it's like quickly indexing or not, but you can switch it on. There's no harm in switching it on. And then you have something called as a link counter. Basically, in your posts, you'll be able to see how many links are going out of the post and how many links are pointing to the post that you are doing. Very useful, considering that it'll give you a quick overview in terms of how many internal links are pointing to the post and how many links are going out of this post. So really helpful. So you can just like switch it on. So local SEO and knowledge graph, you can actually change and control how your knowledge graph looks like. Knowledge graph is the knowledge panel that you get. Let me just quickly show it to you. Give me famous, let's just go with Elon Musk. This is pretty much in the news. So this is what a knowledge graph looks like. So basically about the person, about the company, about a brand, about a product, things like that. So this is what a knowledge graph is all about. So if you want, you can control it using Rank Math here, and also for local SEO. So local SEO is anything that gets triggered for in terms of map packs. So say for example, restaurants in. Okay. So this is a map pack, right? So there is ranking happening within the map pack also, as well as this regular organic listings here. So if you want to optimize your web page for this also, then there are a bunch of different things that you can do as part of Rank Math. So I strongly recommend that you like turn it on and like see what you can do in terms of tweaking things. So I'll be showing it to you. Redirections, I told you what redirections are. And we also spoke about schema, role manager, SEO analysis. This is a pretty cool thing that RankMath does, actually, quickly analyzes what your website or where your website is standing in terms of SEO. We also spoke about sitemaps. So Google Web Stories is a side project within AMP, which is basically like your Instagram stories and all, again, meant for mobile viewing. So not a big fan again. If you want to, you can like go around, play around with it. But if you don't want to, just leave it off. Absolutely no problems over there. Woocommerce is an e-commerce integration for your WordPress. So if you have an e-commerce integration for your WordPress, you can switch it on. Otherwise, you can just like leave it as it is. Okay, great. So these are all the different things that you can do with Rank Math. So if you click on analytics here, so you will be able to see everything that has to do with your search console as well as your analytics and everything, right? So all the keyword positions here, and what are the different things in terms of search console. You can take a look at site analytics. So the bunch of things which are pro version here, SEO performance. All of this data is actually fetched from within search console, so you can actually go out there and do it yourself if you want to, right? So this is basically taken from search console again, and rank tracker is only for pro versions. So again, like I said, the pro version is also absolutely great. For $60, the amount of feature that they are providing is stunning, right? So you might have to, if you were to like go out there and buy or avail a service of rank tracking for your website out there in the market, it might cost you a lot more than $60 per month, let alone a year, right? So the fact that they're giving it as part of this package is absolutely amazing, right? How are you guys doing? Is everything clear? Just type in a quick CC in the chat box if you guys are clear so far with Rank Math for WordPress SEO. Beautiful. Great. So we'll go through a bunch of the general settings that Rank Math allows you to do, right? So these are all the general settings that are there. So the first few things are links, right? So the first option you have is called script category base. So what this does is that it just removes this part of from your URL, especially if you're using category pages. Say, for example, you have an e-commerce website set up using WordPress, and you have different categories for different kind of products. And what happens is that WordPress by default kind of adds that category as part of your URL, and it kind of makes your URL unnecessarily lengthy. So you might as well like remove it, and it's absolutely unnecessary also, both in terms of user experience and as well as SEO also. So you might as well just get rid of it. So you can just like say yes to strip category base. You can redirect attachments or not, right? So this is absolutely, that's completely your call. So no follow external links. We're gonna leave it off. Like I mentioned before, you can do it on a post level if you wish to. No follow image file links. Again, this is not necessary at all. Open external links. This is the same thing. Then you have something called as breadcrumbs. Okay, so breadcrumbs is this small navigation, for all the different posts that you will see on top of the page or on the bottom of the page. How many people have seen that? It's called breadcrumbs basically because it leaves a trail for your entire website, right? In terms of your homepage, it's not exactly URL. It looks like it says that homepage, then the category, and then the post name itself. So what a breadcrumb allows you to do, it automatically adds internal link to most of your pages, especially to your home page and your category pages and all of those things. So if you want to, you can do it. You need to like you put it in the template file, or you can use this short code as part of to add it as part of your post or page. You can choose whether to add it or not. So you can, if you want to, you can just like go ahead with it. So basically the path of the entire page. So what is the path? So it is in home under a certain category, and this is the post title. So that kind of like creates an automatic internal linking for categories and home pages itself. So it's definitely recommended if you want to. Kind of like gives an extra boost to your user experience also, because it kind of gives an idea to your users also as to where they are on the website. So that is also very helpful. So you can see it automatically creates for all the pages. So if you want to have separate character separators, you can go with hyphen, an arrow, or this. I personally like this because it kind of like gives a nice separation there, right? So show homepage link, yes, because it definitely requires homepage label, and this is the homepage link. If you have any prefix, you can put it, and all of these are for the different formats that are there. So if you want to hide the post title, which I don't recommend doing, just like you can do it, and show categories. You can show categories if you want to, because like I said, it automatically adds an internal link, right? If you want to hide taxonomy name, which is basically there are categories or tags that you might be using, you can switch it on, and show blog page also. I mean, this is not necessary at all. So you just leave it like this. So click on images now. So this is what I was talking about in terms of image SEO, right? So what it does is that if you turn this on, which is add missing alt attributes. So what it does is it automatically adds alt text to your images. So you have an option to add alt text to each of the image that you will be uploading to your post. So what happens, especially if you have a bunch of images to upload, if you have a bunch of files to upload, media files to upload, so sometimes you might miss out on alt tags. So what this does is it automatically adds alt attributes or alt text. So here you can tell what is the alt attribute format that you need to do. This is the file placeholder here. So in this case, I'm saying that, hey, if there is an alt text missing, so just use the file name as the alt text itself. So if my file name for the image, right? So if the file name for the image is say sunrise at Maldives, and I upload the sunrise at Maldives.jpg onto the post, so, and there is no alt text at all, it automatically adds sunrise at Maldives as the alt text. So you can still go ahead and either add or change the alt text. That option is still available, but sometimes it might be like too much work. So this kind of like comes as a lifesaver, right? Again, if same thing for title attributes. So you can add a title to your page or to your image also. So here again, you can choose file name, do that, and that should be like more than enough. So this is what I was talking about in terms of image SEO. So in Webmaster Tools, you can add your Google Search Console and Bing and all of those things. So we've already done that. Now we have something called as robots.txt. Now, what is robots.txt? So think of robots.txt as a file that basically lays out the instructions for the crawlers. Remember, we spoke about crawlers. So every time a crawler visits your website, what it does is it first goes to the robots.txt to kind of see and read what are the kind of instructions you have laid out to the crawlers. So here you can tell the crawlers that, hey, you're allowed to go to this page, you're allowed to go to this post, but you're not allowed to go to certain pages and posts at all. So don't bother about crawling these pages, because I feel that you will be wasting your time and resources and energy doing this. And I don't want these pages to be like, even considered for indexing, let alone crawling, right? So of course, if you want to make sure that if a certain post, you do not want it to be indexed, you have to turn on the no index tag in the post. We'll learn how to do that. But on a global level, these are the different things that you can tell. If you don't know what you're doing with the robots.txt, just leave it as it is. I've already made some changes here. So which is why you can see that, hey, you're allowed to go to this particular page, but you're not allowed to go to all of these kind of pages, right? So that is why we are like actually going out there and giving all the information or the instructions to the robots or the crawlers. And again, this is so beautiful, because I still remember back in the days, if you had to do any kind of changes for the robots.txt, you actually had to write all of these things. This was before Yoast also, I guess, right? So you actually had to type it on a text file, go to your FTP and all of those things, and upload the text file under your website.com/robots.txt. So considering that I have done that in the past, and knowing that I can do it so quickly within Rank Math, of course, this was you were able to do it with Yoast also. But again, look at the UI. It's so beautiful. It's so simple. It's so clean. It actually makes you feel like, hey, you know what? Come, like, change, do things, tweak around things, and a bunch of different things, right? So again, if you don't know what you're doing here, please don't touch it. Just leave it as it is, especially if you're just getting started. Of course, I recommend adding a few things here. But if you don't know what you're doing, it's again a different story altogether. So if you don't know what you're doing, just leave it as it is, especially if you're a new blog, because considering yours is a new blog, you won't have a lot of posts, you won't have a lot of pages. So your entire crawling efficiency is not going to get affected because of robots.txt. But if you want to, you can do a bunch of changes. So then you click on others, and you can actually show the SEO score. So what RankMath does is it actually gives you a score on 100, 0 to 100, for every post that you post using WordPress, right? So you can actually show this score to visitors. I have no idea why you would want to show it to your users, because not like your users are going to know what SEO is about, right? So I have no idea why they actually gave in this feature. This is probably one feature they could have done without, or maybe I don't understand why they've given this. So there might be certain use cases in which the SEO score being visible or shown to the users can actually be useful, but I can't think of any. So just like leave it as it is, leave it disabled. You don't have to show your SEO score to your users at all. It's not going to make any sense whatsoever. So leave all of this as it is. So then you have the .htaccess file. Do not, I repeat, do not touch it. Okay, so if things can go horribly wrong if you do things, if you don't know what you're doing, especially neither do I. So I'm going to just leave it alone and not touch anything here. So then you have the 404 monitor, and you have the log limit, how many logs that you actually want to keep a log of. And if you want to say that, hey, you know what, if there, say for example, a certain page is unnecessarily giving a 404, and if you want to say that, hey, you know what, please, exclude all of these parts because I don't want to know about the 404s here, so you can add it here, and just leave it on like this. And this is pretty much it. Redirections is you have default 404, and the redirection type is 301, right? A 301 redirection is a permanent move. It means that whatever you're telling Google that this page has been permanently moved to another page. So this is the default redirection that you can put. So just click on save changes for as it is. And analytics, as I told you, you can add a bunch of different things here. You can add your properties and all of those things, which we already did in the setup start wizard, and click on save changes once you're done with that. Great. So these are the general settings for Rank Math, and we are through to 45 minutes. And as you guys can see, we are not done with Rank Math. So you can imagine how powerful and power-packed Rank Math is. How many people are enjoying this session, are finding it valuable, informational, educational? Just let me know real quick in the chat box if you're finding this valuable. Great, fantastic. Thank you very much. You guys want me to do more of these things? More of these sessions, probably on Sundays, on Wednesdays? Great, fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. I'm so glad that, first of all, it's a Sunday evening. You guys could have been doing 10,000 other things. The fact that you actually made time out for this while you could have been doing so many other things is, I'm extremely thankful for that. And the fact that you made it is also very, I appreciate that. So thank you very much. And I think we can go through the other settings also, all the amazing different things that you can do using Rank Math. So you have titles and meta here. So as you can see, this is global meta, and you can actually index or no index your entire website, right? If you choose it, no index, then your entire website will not be indexed from Google at all. So whenever the crawlers come to your website, they see that there's a no index tag to it. And they will be like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to like go out there. Guys, don't worry. It's been recorded. I will be putting it on YouTube, and I'll be sharing the link with you guys. So if people have missed the first half part of the session, don't worry about it at all. You'll be getting a YouTube link with the recording. So don't worry about it. Hang in there, right? So you can do no follow, no archive, no snippet, no image index, all of these things. So leave all of these things as it is. And this is the character separator for the title. So on a global level, you can put a rule for how the titles are going to look like on your website if you don't manually put in titles for each post. Okay, so if you don't actually put in each post the title, you are kind of like laying out the ground rules for WordPress, saying that, hey, you know what, this is the rules that you need to follow for titles, and this is how you separate when you use those placeholders. This is how you separate all of these things. So like I said, I like that. I don't know what it's called. What is this called? I'm not even showing it properly. So I don't know what it's called. It's called a separator? I don't think it's called a separator. A vertical bar, says Miti. Okay, let's just go with a vertical bar. I think everybody seems to be agreeing on that. Okay, let's just go with a vertical bar. For all the ADSD or, sorry, not ADSD, OCD guys, if you want to capitalize your titles and basically like capitalize the first character of all your title tags, then you can like go ahead and do that also. And open graph is basically the open graph is I would like to say algorithm, but I'm not sure. But it's a protocol. Let's just call it a protocol that most of the social networks use, right? Facebook or Twitter and all of those things, right? So guys, if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A and not in the chat box because your questions will get lost. So I don't want to miss out on the flow of the session. I'll just go ahead with the flow. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A box, and I'll be more than happy to like answer your questions. Right. So the image that you will see on the the social networks for any post that you have, sorry, that you can upload here, like basically a default image, right? And same thing with Twitter card type. So if you want to change anything here, you can change it. For local SEO, right? So this is again, like I said, if you want to like rank within the map pack, there are a few things that you need to be doing. And one of the things that you need to be doing is figuring out your name, logo. So the idea is very simple. Quick local SEO lesson here. So in terms of local SEO, the most important thing probably is your NAP, which is your name, address, and phone number, which needs to be consistent wherever you get what is called as citations. Citations are nothing but mentions of your website, of your business, of your product across the internet with or without a link, right? Wherever people mention this, they need to mention their name, address, and phone number. So a good place to kind of like set the standard for how your name, address, and phone number needs to look like is probably on your own website, right? So you're kind of putting in the information here. So this is how this is also a great feature from Rank Math here. So if you are doing any kind of local SEO, does you had to like do so many different things using so many different tools before, but Rank Math is allowing you to do it so efficiently using the very intuitive interface. So you can like, get your local SEO also right. So you can put your name here, logo here, URL, email, phone, address, and if you need to be usually putting it in an about page or your contact page. So just like choose all of these things so that all your local SEO details Google will understand, and if it wants to fetch it and like show it in a Google My Business, it can do it efficiently also, right? So again, like I said, optimize for local searches and knowledge graph. For knowledge graph also, Google fetches all of this information from throughout the internet or from your Google business page or this particular page here, right? Then you have social meta. You can put in your Facebook page URL, pretty straightforward. If you want to put authorship, which is basically your Facebook profile, if you want to put in admin number here, and all of these things are slightly advanced, your Facebook app and your Facebook secret ID. And if you want to put in your Twitter username, you can do that also. Then you have the home page. So everything that you need to change in terms of the home page, like Rank Math. So this here, just go to WP dashboard and where's the settings here? There you go. Just go to reading and do whatever changes you want to do over there. Okay. So, but apart from that, just leave it as it is. Post formats, just leave all of these things as it is, not necessary. Authors, again, you can put author archives. I kind of disable it because, again, what happens is, say, for example, you are an author on your website and you have categories also, right? So your author page will have all the posts that you have published, and your category page is all the posts under that category. So both these pages might actually be the same page, right? Because it is just grouped in a different way, but they'll have the same exact content, considering that you're the only sole author on your website, and it's going to have all the same pages, and it's also just archived, so you don't have to actually do it. So I usually recommend leaving it disabled. If something happens, it's just like redirected to your homepage. So like they said, like they rightly mentioned here, to avoid duplicate content issues, no index author archives if you keep them enabled. So this is the problem, right? So this is the problem because it kind of creates similar pages to your category pages or your tag pages. So you might end up with a lot of pages which has the same kind of content throughout your website. So you wouldn't want that to happen because you might have a duplicate content issue within your website. Now you wouldn't want that to happen because again, Google will get very confused. Like, hey, should I like use this page or that page? Which is the actual correct page, right? So to avoid all of that confusion, especially if it's just like a small website, just disable it and you're like good to go. Miscellaneous pages, leave all of these things as it is. You don't need to like touch anything here. Post types, again, like I told you, single post title, you can give like a global default title over here. How and how a WordPress or Rank Math would like to actually structure a title name here, and the description. If you if you haven't given a description to your post, you can just say that, hey, just pull in something from the excerpt, and it should be like good to go. Schema type, we've already seen this. Headline is the same as your title of your page, and description is the same thing. Leave this as it is. We've already done this. All of these things you don't have to change at all. And we're pretty much good to go with this one. Same thing with pages also. You don't have to change anything. All the same kind of options you have with posts and attachments also. Nothing much to change here. Just leave all of them as it is. Same thing with categories and tags. So let's move on to sitemap settings. Okay, let me just like save it. Right. Whoops. Okay, sitemap settings. So like I said, sitemap is like your table of contents for your entire website, right? It basically tells your crawlers where is all of the pages on your website and how have I, as a blog owner or a webmaster, organized all of this content on my website, right? So that is what it is. So if you click on this, you'll actually see how a sitemap looks like. This is what an XML sitemap looks like. These are all for the posts. So there is nothing on this website, so you'll not find anything here. But usually you'll find all the links to your posts and pages on the sitemap, which will basically make finding content on your website for crawlers so much more easier, right? So how many links do you want per sitemap? You can put it like you put a maximum number. 200 is quite a lot to get started with. Just leave it. Images. Do you want images in sitemaps? Hell yeah. So just leave it like the as it is. If you want to add featured image also, you can put that also. If you want to exclude certain posts, you can exclude certain posts, or if you want to exclude certain terms, you can do that. This is also a nice thing to have. So every time a new post appears, so RankMath basically pings the search engines that, hey, you know what? It's a new post. You might want to come and check it out. So that's what it is. So leave all of these things as it is. So then you have post type. You want to include it in the sitemap? Of course you do. And then same thing with pages. If you want to add custom fields, you can just leave it as it is. So attachment, if you want to include certain things in the sitemap, say for example, you have a PDF file which you want to actually, rank for within the search engines or certain keywords, you can then say that, hey, you can add it in the sitemaps, and then it will go ahead and like add your PDF files or other attachments as part of your search results, right? Even categories for that matter. I do not recommend adding categories as part of sitemaps. Like I said, again, it completely depends on the kind of website that you have. If you say, for example, have an e-commerce website where your categories actually make sense, because say, for example, you're selling electronic appliances, right? And you'll have TV as a category. Under that, you'll have smart TVs as a subcategory. And under that, you'll have a bunch of different kind of TVs, right? So in that case, having a category is very important because it acts as a very important navigational tool for your users. And also, that page itself is going to be very dynamic in nature, depending on how often you're going to update it. So if you're not an e-commerce page, I don't necessarily see why you would want to. Or if you are having like a multi-topic WordPress website, right, wherein you are putting in multiple different kinds of topics, and you have different categories under that, then you can probably have category pages. So then you can include it in the sitemap. But if you don't have multiple categories as of now, I would not recommend putting categories as part of the sitemap itself. Same thing with tags. So either tags and categories are probably two ways of grouping your content together on WordPress. You can either do it using categories or tags. Categories is a lot more rigid compared to tags. You can have like, tags is more specific in nature. Let's just put it that way. Tags is more specific in nature, wherein you're saying that, hey, this is what this content is about. And categories is basically you're categorizing it under a certain theme rather than putting in keywords over there. So again, if you want to like index all of these things, you can, but there might be duplicate content issues and all in the future. So just be careful with this if you want to index it. Otherwise, just leave it as it is. Instant indexing is for Bing. You can put like a Bing API key. They've given like a documentation of how to obtain it and all of those things. Again, I don't know who uses Bing anymore. So I don't know. I'll just like leave it as it is. I don't think it's as useful, for you. So role manager, we went through this again. So if you want to again come back and change anything here, you can do it here. Your 404 monitor. This is what I was talking about, right? So there might be URLs, certain URLs that might have been dead on your website, which might be throwing a 404. As you can see, there was a dummy post that I put in, and it's already gotten a hit, and it gave a 404. So what you would do ideally in this case is that, you know what, hey, let me just put a redirect here. So let's click on redirect, and I'll say that if the URL is like this, just send them to my home page, right? So I'm going to put the destination URL like this, and this is how you create a redirection, right? So let's click on redirection. Now what happens is, as you can see, this is a link to the old post, the dummy post that I had put. So if I click on that, it will actually send me to my home page. Did you guys see that happen? Just give me a quick yes in the chat box if you guys saw that happen, right? It automatically got redirected to the home page. This is how you can set up redirections in Rank Math. Again, absolutely amazing, very, very useful tool for you. So if you want to add more redirections, click on redirections, add new. The source URL is basically your existing URL, which you want to redirect, and the destination URL will be the URL that lists that basically the URL where you want them to actually land on, right? And once you do that, usually 301 permanent move is good, or you can say that you can use any of these things that you want to use. I click on activate, click on add redirection, and you'll actually see how many hits it's got and all of these things, right? So pretty useful feature from within Rank Math. So SEO analysis, unfortunately on this website, there is like nothing much to analyze as such, which is probably why I got an 83 on 100 score. But otherwise also, like, it's very useful if you have a lot of pages, a lot of posts, and all of those things. Like I said, right? So there are a bunch of things like, hey, I didn't find a description. There are too many H1 tags found. All of these issues, RankMath basically shows you right here, which can be very, very useful for you, right? So quick overview of all the possible, possible uh, diagnostic changes or opportunities that can be done on your website to make your website better can be found here. So if you really want to do a quick thing, you can go ahead and do it, right? So then you have status and tools, which is basically everything that is there to do with Rank Math itself, right? So that's pretty much it in terms of all these settings. Like you saw, it took me an hour to actually make you guys go through the entire settings itself. But having said that, if you're not using Rank Math, I would like to ask you, why not? Because like it is probably one of the best WordPress SEO plugins out there, and it's got amazing features like I just showed you guys. And the Pro version is even better, right? The Pro version is even better than this. So if you really want to go out there and add this and get yourself a Pro version of Rank Math, I would strongly recommend you do that. But if you want to win a Pro version annual license for free, go out there. I'll give you a minute. Tweet or share your key takeaway, one key takeaway from this session on either Twitter or on Instagram. And after that, I'm going to quickly go through the post itself and how are you going to optimize a singular post. So in the meantime, I'm going to take hydration break. Great, fantastic. So I hope you guys are participating. And after this session is over, I'll basically reveal who the winner of this really quick contest, simple contest. You don't have to do much. Probably the easiest way for you to win a pro version of a WordPress SEO plugin like this. Great. How is it going so far? Everybody enjoying it, finding it valuable, finding it useful? How many of you learned something that you didn't know about Rank Math today? Just type in me in the chat box if you learned something about Rank Math that you did not know about before. Great, fantastic. Okay, this is basically whatever we did up until this point was all the settings that you can use for Rank Math, but how do you actually translate this to a particular post? So let's jump in there because this is more like a one-time setup. Of course, you can come back and toggle and tweak around a bunch of different things and see what you can do with it. But this will be mostly like a one-off setup. So you can just like probably do it in less than an hour. The reason why I took like close to an hour was I was explaining all the different things in terms of Rank Math. So if you want to, you can just quickly do it in like 15-20 minutes also. So this is going to be like a one-off thing. But what is most important for you guys would be how are you going to like optimize a post that you will be posting on a WordPress blog using Rank Math, right? So this is probably where a lot of people either get confused or they make a mistake, right? Which is why I'm going to like spend a few minutes on this. And I'm using a blog post from my own blog. I just like copy pasted it here. So I'll show you how I'm going to like optimize this particular blog post here, right? So what you can see here, I've already posted this blog post. It's quite a lengthy one. It's got plenty of images, blah, 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 all of these kind of things, right? So as you can see, plenty of different things here. So as you can see, RankMath is already giving me a score of 88 on 100, right? So how did this happen? So for RankMath to give this score of 88 on 100, as you can see, it quickly came down to 31 on 100, right? So I'll tell you what a focus keyword is, right? So ideally speaking, so first let me walk you through how to actually get this. So usually this might be your view or this might be your view when you're doing something on WordPress, when you're publishing a post on WordPress. So if you want to enable or toggle between the rank maths view here, all you need to do is click on this icon and it will toggle between the rank math view and show you all the different things that you have. So let's go one by one. The first thing is basically you can control how right now it's like a no index, which is why this alert is showing up here, but otherwise this will not show up. So let's try to first understand how you can control how your website looks on the search engine results, right? So for that, you need to click on edit snippets and you can actually tweak or tell show how your title is going to look like. So this is how it's going to look like. So it's already showing you a preview. So you can show it on, see how it looks on a mobile. So as you can see, this is how it looks like. So a little bit of probably, I might say that, hey, you know what? I probably might want to remove this so that my title is not getting cut on mobile. On desktop, it seems to be fine. So you can toggle between here and see actually how it looks on desktop and on mobile. And this is your permalink. Permalink is nothing but the URL of this page. So this is what the URL is going to be. Beautiful thing about this is they actually show you the character limit of your title and your URL also. You can quickly understand how many characters that you want to keep in under, and the permalinks, of course, and then of course your description. So idea is from an on-page perspective, this is the ultimate plugin that you can use because it kind of like ticks off all the important checkboxes in terms of what needs to be done for on-page SEO. So I always tell my students as part of my HIIT SEO program also that keyword research is 50% of SEO and on-page SEO probably is another 20-30%, right? So if you get your keyword research right, I'll probably do another session on keyword research, but you need to make sure you get your keyword research right. And that kind of spills over to your on-page SEO as well, right? So in on-page SEO, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make your post, in this case, this particular post, as relevant to the search query as possible, or the keyword that you have identified as part of your keyword research. So you want to make this content as relevant as possible to those keywords, right? So that when somebody looks for that keyword, Google knows that, hey, you know what, this particular post seems to be the most relevant piece of information out there for that particular keyword, right? So which is why it's very important that you make this particular post relevant to the keyword. That's what on-page SEO is all about. You're trying to give signals to Google that, hey, you know what, this is what I'm talking about on my page. And the more explicitly you try to give information to Google, the more easier it will be for it to understand what the page is about. But having said that, of course, there are plenty of other factors also out there to ensure that you're ranking on the first page and preferably on the #1 position. But having said that, if you haven't done your keyword research right, if you don't get your on-page SEO right, you're not going to go anywhere near the first page. Okay, so it is very, very important that you, #1, get your keyword research right. #2, get your on-page SEO right. And three of the most important things as part of your on-page is your title, your permalink, and your description, right? So make sure not so much with description, because Google has admitted that some of the blog posts or some of the website write such terrible meta descriptions that we are forced to like actually fetch it automatically from the content and show something that is actually useful to the users. So what my recommendation to you guys is to not over optimize the description. Keep in mind that you're using the description as means to extract a click from your user. It is a way for you to improve your CTR. Of course, it definitely helps to have your keyword or whatever keyword that you have shortlisted as part of your keyword research as part of in your title and your permalink and your description. So that's what I'm doing here, right? So what I'm doing here is that so let's say, for example, this is my keyword. I did a lot of keyword research. I spent a lot of time, energy, effort, and finally I arrived saying that, hey, you know what? This is the keyword, which is how to create user personas. That is the keyword for which I want to rank for. Every time somebody looks for how to create user personas, I want my website or this particular blog post to be up there on top. That is what I'm trying to do here. And the way to do that, first step is keyword research, which I've already done. Second step is to increase the relevancy of this page, which is what we are doing here. Right. So I've made sure that I've added it in the title. I've made sure I've put it in the permalink, and I'm going to make sure I added it in the description also. As you can see, I'm trying to keep it as naturally as possible. Don't try to over optimize it. Don't try to force your keywords inside any of these things. It's going to be like pretty bad. It's going to look very robotic. It's going to look very impersonal. So you wouldn't want to do that, right? So this is your first step. You can toggle your social settings also. So this is how your website is going to look like when somebody shares it on Facebook and on Twitter, right? So if you want to change things here, you can add your image. I would recommend adding it in this size, which is 1200 into 630. Put in your title and your description. It can be the same thing. As you can see, it will look something like this. Okay, so both for search engines and for the social networks, you're pretty much taken care of how it is going to look like. And now let's come to the focus keyword. Now, what the focus keyword here is all about is that RankMath is asking you to specify which keyword are you trying to optimize this particular blog post for. Okay, so that based on that, I'm going to tell you whether you have used this particular keyword enough times in the right places, therefore giving you a score, signaling that objectively trying to help you understand whether or not this particular post is optimized for that particular keyword. So that is the whole idea here. And that is where the mistake also happens for most people, right? So what people do, either they use a wrong focus keyword here and they end up optimizing it for that wrong focus keyword. And then they say that, hey, you know what? I got 100 on 100 for my rank math score. Guess what? It's absolutely pointless to get 100 on 100 rank math score if you have optimized it for the wrong keyword. Does that make sense? Just type in yes, the chat box, if it makes sense to you guys. Because what is happening here is the focus keyword is the keyword that you have shortlisted as part of your keyword research, right? You are optimizing for that particular keyword. You're improving the relevancy of your page for that keyword. Now, garbage in, garbage out. Okay, just type in garbage in the chat box if you got it. Okay, garbage in, garbage out. If you put a wrong keyword in the focus keyword part here, you are going to get a false positive, right? Or a false 100 on 100. Why would you want to just see that, hey, you know what? Don't be of the impression that, hey, I got 100 on 100. Do not optimize it for 100 on 100 on RankMath. Okay, the idea is pretty simple here. Hey, I'm trying to optimize this page for a particular keyword. Is this particular keyword mentioned in the right places enough times? That's what you're doing, right? So, which is why it is very important that you identify and understand what that focus keyword is going to be. So your focus keyword usually is going to be the keywords that you would have shortlisted as part of your keyword research. So I'll give you a very good example, okay? Now, say, for example, I told you that how to create user personas is actually my keyword. That is going to be, what my focus keyword is also going to be, right? So I'm going to check that whether all the right keywords are in the, this particular keyword is in the right places. So I'm going to put that, and then it's going to quickly populate and show me a score of 84 on 100. So if you come down, it will actually give you all the different things that you have gotten right or not gotten right. So it's saying that, hey, you're using the focus keyword in the SEO title, which is great. Thank you so much. Keyword is used in the meta description. Like I showed you, we've already added it in the URL. Great. Focus keyword doesn't appear at the beginning of your content. Now, this is a great example of trying to over optimize your website. just for the sake of getting 100 or 100 score on rank math, right? You wouldn't want to force that keyword in the beginning of the content just because rank math is asking you to do so. Of course, it's asking you to do so for the right reasons, but at the end of the day, you're writing for the users, not for the search engines. You're trying to convince the users, not the search engines. So if you convince the users, if you attract the users, the search engines will definitely follow you. So do not try to over optimize. So which is why, although Rank Math says that, hey, focus keyword doesn't appear in the beginning of your content, I don't mind it. Okay, it's fine. I don't want to like forcefully feed it into the beginning of the content just because Rank Math is asking me to do so. Okay, so focus keyword found in the content, great. So it said that, I've used the focus keyword enough times in my content, and content is 3,002 to 26 words long. Good job. So the idea in terms of SEO is that the longer your content is, the better chances you have to rank for that particular thing, right? Then you have additional thing, focus keyword found in the subheadings. So these are all the subheadings, right? You can see it here. And focus keyword found in an alt image or attribute. So if you want to change the alt image, alt text rather, so you just need to click on this gear icon, and you can see here I've added certain alt text here. How do you define a user persona? What should be included in a user persona? Are buyer user personas useful? Basically, variations of the same keyword. In one of the images, I've used the exact term how to create user personas as the alt tag. So these are all the different real estate that is available for you to optimize your page, right? So that's also there. And keyword density is 0.06, which is low. The focus keyword and combination appears 2 times. Again, it is of my opinion and belief that keyword density is a very outdated concept, right? So earlier in the days, it was like, you know what? This is the keyword that I want to rank for. I'm going to stuff the hell out of this blog post with that keyword. I'm just going to stuff it wherever I can, however I can. I'm just going to stuff it so that I'm going to like increase the relevancy on this particular thing. Now, what is happening is with machine learning and AI and all of those things, Google has become slightly more intelligent. I wouldn't say slightly, it has become significantly more intelligent, right? So what you should be ideally focusing on the theme of the entire post rather than one single keyword, right? So yes, you need to include these keywords in certain places in certain ways, but saying that, hey, I want to increase my keyword density. So imagine, would you like it if you were a reader, if you saw the keyword how to create user personas forcefully stuffed into the page without making any grammatical sense, right? Would you guys agree with that? Would you like something like that if you come across a blog post which is forced, they have like added into this whole thing? You wouldn't want to do that, right? So which is why it is very important that you don't force these keywords or stuff these keywords. So I think it's a very outdated concept. More importantly, right, for the user, if you can, actually add it naturally, go ahead and use it. So this is where I can like tweak around the score and all of this. I'll come back to that. Okay. So URL is 56 character long. Kudos. Thank you very much. You're linking to external resources. If you add a link to any external website, it'll be okay. One external link. We couldn't find any internal links. You can add internal links. I strongly recommend adding internal links. It is very important to pass around the link juice throughout your website. You haven't used this focus keyword before. Okay, great. Focus keyword used at the beginning of the SEO title. Again, it's called front loading of a keyword. It's definitely useful. If you can use it, use it. If you have to force it, don't do it. Okay. Doesn't contain a positive or a negative sentiment word. Again, these are things that don't try to over optimize it. Okay. If it's there, great. If it's not, leave it. Right. It contains one power word. I'm guessing effective is the power word here. Doesn't contain a number. Now, how can I possibly put a number and have a positive or negative sentiment and all of those things? You're optimizing it for a score rather than for the user. So don't do all of these things. Take an example. Let's go back to the whole keyword density issue, right? So keyword density and the score here itself, I can quickly change it by actually changing the focus keyword itself, right? So instead of saying that how to create user personas is my keyword or focus keyword, I'll just say user. Okay. As you can see, my score just got bounced to 90 or 100. Does that mean that it is a well-optimized blog post? Let me know in the chat box. Do you think that just because I've managed to get a 90 or 100 here, does it mean that this is a well-optimized blog post? Absolutely not. Because like I just managed to change the focus keyword here and managed to get a great score. And let's see the keyword density. Whoa, suddenly it's 1.24 and it appears 40 times throughout the post. Now, does it mean that this is a well-optimized post? Not at all, right? Because, like I said, garbage in, garbage out, right? It completely depends on what keyword you're going to put in there. And if you're not putting in the focus keyword, you're optimizing it for the wrong keyword. So simple rule, just make sure you're putting in the right keyword as the focus keyword and optimize your entire blog post for the right keywords. Okay, so don't just use random terms. So please just go ahead and use the right terms so that you have a solid, well-optimized website which actually makes sense. So with that, I would like to wrap up this session. Hopefully, you guys learned a lot of new things. Hopefully, this was useful, informational, educational. Just let me know what you guys thought and what was your one key takeaway from this session in the chat box. All right, looks like a lot of people have shared it on their social media. I'm just going to get back to it real quick. Guys, how many people have a blog here or okay, I'm going to rephrase that question. I'm going to rephrase that question. Sorry about that. Uh, how many of you people would like to start a blog and use that blog to learn about writing and SEO and all of those things? Just give me a quick me in the chat box if you are interested. Okay, fantastic. So lucky for you guys, I'm doing a workshop next Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, 29 and 30th. I hope I got the dates right, 29 and 38. And I'm going to give a special price for this webinar. I'm going to give an extra 500 rupees off, and the price of the webinar is just going to be 399 rupees for a 2-day workshop. And that workshop is going to be for good 10 hours from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on both days. Even if you can't attend it live, you don't have to worry about it at all. The entire session will be recorded and the entire recording will be provided to you. And in the entire program, what we'll be doing is we'll be learning how to identify your niche in your blogging, how to register a domain name, setting up your hosting, setting up your domain name, registering your domain name, and writing a solid blog post using the 6-step content framework. So I'm just going to put in the link in the chat box. So if you guys are interested, and it's just like 399 bucks, like it's absolutely next to nothing. I'm just gonna like the link is in the chat, and I'm gonna like disable the chat for just a minute so that like people don't like miss out on the link. So if you are interested to like go out there and like register for the weekend blogging workshop, just 399 bucks. And I think like a lot of people have already registered for the weekend blogging workshop. So people who have registered already, I'll be more than happy to like see you guys there. But people who might not have registered, there are plenty of other things that needs to be learned in terms of setting up your blog. So I'll be doing like a much more detailed, in-depth session in terms of blogging. I call it the weekend blogging workshop, where you will be learning how to set up your custom WordPress blog on a custom domain and hosting and publish your first blog post, even if you're not a writer, using the 6-step content framework. Okay. So plenty of people have already attended the workshop and my other training sessions. So I'm going to open up the chat again. So people who have attended either my weekend content workshop or weekend blogging workshop, can you please let people who might be interested in learning know how your experience was with that? And in the meantime, I'll just like open up the Q&A. So if you can share your experience of the weekend content workshop or weekend blogging workshop, I just enabled the chat again. So if you can just like put it in the chat, and I've also put in the links again. Our timings is from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on both days. So it'll be for 10 hours. You'll have about 8 tasks. It's a 100% practical workshop. It's not like one of those workshops. It won't be like this session, wherein mostly I was doing the talking. In that workshop, we'll be doing most of the doing, right? And that's how you'll be learning, right? So you'll be actually setting things up from scratch, and you'll be learning how to do it all by yourself. It's from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on both days, on Saturday and Sunday. And, absolute fun. You'll be learning a lot of new things. So if you and you'll get bonuses worth 18,000 rupees also. So just 399 bucks. It's a special offer, 500 rupees off for this webinar. And I'll close that link in the next 5-10 minutes. If you want to, just check it out. I'm going to just put in the link again in the chat box. And hopefully for all the people who have, registered, I'll be seeing you guys next weekend again. So in the meantime, I'll just quickly take up a few questions that has come in as part of the Q&A. Sumedha here has a very interesting question. He's asking, can I use Yoast and RankMath together? I wouldn't see why you would want to do that, to be very honest. And I feel that it might unnecessarily overlap and override each other's settings. So I would not recommend using RankMath and Yoast together. How much impact does schema markup has on SEO? Does it rank quickly? So it has a sort of an indirect impact on SEO, primarily because since you'll be getting rich results on the search engine result pages or the SERPs, right? So your website or the post or the page that you're trying to rank for can stand out from the rest of the people, assuming that they have not enabled schema markup themselves. So which is why, it can have an indirect because it will improve your CTR, which is your click-through rate, and therefore improve your rankings also. So thank you so much for asking that question. I hope I answered. Great, Kiran. I'm just going to put in the link again. So as you can see, plenty of people who have really enjoyed the workshop, learned a lot of different things, and come out as very confident bloggers. Are totally recommending you to do the same. So if you are interested, please, the link is in the chat. It's going to be 2 days of absolute value and a lot of fun. So yeah. Does RankMath automatically submit sitemaps to Search Console? Actually, it doesn't. So you have to go out there and like submit it yourself. This is like a one-time job. It takes about 10 seconds for you to do that. So just go ahead and do it yourself. Highly recommended that you do it yourself. Lamia says, I have no idea about plugins, just a few blogs old. Does it make sense for me to install RankMath? Absolutely does, especially if you're just like new into blogging and all those things. It definitely makes a lot of sense for you to go out there and install all of these things. Thanks, Madhu. Thanks a lot for that. I'm just going to put in the link again, guys, in the chat box. So if you want to attend the weekend blogging workshop, link is in the chat. Go out there and check it out. And I'll probably see you guys on the weekend also. Is URL different for every post? It is. In fact, the full form of URL is Uniform Resource Locator. So you can't have the same address for two houses, can you? It's the same way, right? The URL is going to be different for each post. Yes, you can use it for e-commerce websites also. The bunch of different features for e-commerce specifically. So yeah, you can definitely use it, assuming that it is developed on WordPress, of course. But if you're using Shopify or something like that, unfortunately, RankMath is not available for Shopify. Can I turn my blog website into e-com site? Yes, you can, using the Woocommerce. Absolutely. Can we use other bottom of the funnel keywords as tags, as we can create same page for similar keywords? You can, but it's your creative judgment. So I would not recommend doing it, but you can. Weekend content workshop and weekend blogging workshop. The content part of it is the same, but we'll also be talking about the technical side of things like setting up the blog, registration, domain name, hosting, and all of those things. So yeah. All right. I think most of the other questions were already answered. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to put in the link one last time in the chat box. So if you are interested to sign up for the weekend blogging workshop, just $399, 500 rupees off special price for this particular session. And I'm going to go back, check out all the tags and key takeaways that you guys have posted on Twitter and Instagram. If you haven't done it already, just make sure you do it. So tomorrow, probably I'll be uploading this recording on YouTube while I send out the recording to all the guys who have attended this workshop. I will be also like announcing the winner over there. So make sure if you haven't gone out there and tweeted or tagged me on Instagram, please don't forget to do that. And thank you so much for being part of this session. I hope you guys had a great time. I hope you guys learned a lot of new things. And hopefully I'll be doing more of these things in the future. And I'll let you guys know about it. So thank you so much again. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Have a great night. Have a great week ahead. So yeah, thank you so much. Bye-bye.